When you've been married for more than 10 years, birthdays change their meaning. They're no longer about surprises, candles, or wrapping paper. Instead, they become quiet reminders that you're still seen, that your presence still matters. That's why, when Emma's birthday came around, I wanted to make sure it counted. We were at the kitchen table that morning. Soft golden light spilled through the blinds, painting lines across the walls. Her cup of coffee sat untouched in front of her, steam fading into the air. I leaned forward, smiling, and asked gently, "So, what would you like this year? A short getaway? A new purse? Maybe that bracelet you showed me online?" She didn't even raise her eyes. She just stirred her coffee slowly, then murmured in a low voice, "You know what I really want? I want you to disappear." The words floated in the air like smoke, bitter and impossible to breathe in. My smile froze in place. At first, I thought maybe I'd misheard her. But then she looked up, her expression calm, almost indifferent, and repeated, "Disappear. That would be the best gift you could give me." I waited for her to laugh, to roll her eyes and say it was a cruel joke. But no. She simply went back to scrolling on her phone, as though she hadn't just torn through the very fabric of our life together. Something inside me cracked in that moment. Not loudly, not with shouting or rage, but with silence. A suffocating silence that wrapped itself around my chest. I stood. Walked down the hallway. My body moved on its own. I opened the closet, pulled out a suitcase, gathered clothes, my toothbrush, my passport. I didn't slam doors or shout accusations. I just packed. When I passed her again, suitcase in hand, she finally looked up. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice flat, almost curious. "You said you wanted me gone," I replied quietly. "So happy birthday." Her lips parted, but no words followed. I walked out. The door clicked shut behind me, softer than the sound of my own heartbeat in my ears. I stood on the driveway for a moment, staring at the house we had built together. A house that suddenly felt like it belonged to strangers. Then I got into the car and drove. No plan, no destination, just the knowledge that something final had ended. I drove for hours, headlights carving through the night, the highway stretching endlessly ahead. My phone buzzed a few times, calls, maybe messages, but I didn't check. I couldn't. Not yet. Eventually, I pulled into a rundown roadside motel, the kind with a flickering neon sign and threadbare sheets. Lying on the stiff mattress, I stared at the ceiling fan creaking above me. Her words kept echoing, "Disappear. That would be the best gift." And the more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't about that one moment. It was about everything before it. The cold shoulders, the sighs that dismissed me, the way she recoiled when I reached for her hand, as though affection had become a burden she no longer wished to carry. I thought of birthdays past. The necklace she claimed to love but never wore. The trip to wine country where her phone got more of her attention than I did. The homemade cake I stayed up decorating with her favorite frosting, left untouched on the counter. It all made sense now. That birthday wish wasn't random cruelty. It was her mask finally slipping. The next morning, I checked out, fueled the car, and just kept driving. I didn't know where I was headed, but for the first time in years, I felt a strange kind of freedom. Hours later, I stopped at a diner. The waitress poured me coffee and asked if I was traveling for business or for pleasure. I almost laughed. "Neither," I said quietly. "I guess I'm traveling for survival." As I sipped the bitter coffee, I thought about how many times I had begged Emma for connection. How many times I'd asked, "What's wrong? What can I do?" And every time, she had given me nothing. Silence, sarcasm, avoidance. And now, with one sentence, she had freed me from asking ever again. I realized then that maybe her wish wasn't a curse. Maybe it was the gift I needed. The push to walk away from a love that had long since withered. I didn't go back that week. Or the next. The suitcase in my trunk became less of a stopgap and more of my new reality. I crashed with an old friend for a while, then rented a small apartment downtown. It was sparse, quiet, but peaceful, something my own home hadn't been in years. Emma called a few times. Left short, clipped voicemails. "You're being ridiculous. When are you coming back? The kids miss you." Her voice wasn't heavy with sadness. It was edged with annoyance, as if my absence was an inconvenience. Not once did she say she missed me. Not once did she say she loved me. One evening, I finally answered. She wasted no time. So, you've had your little tantrum. Are you done? When are you coming home? Her tone was sharp, impatient. I breathed in deeply, steady. No, Emma. I'm not coming back. You got what you asked for. I disappeared. Maybe not the way you pictured it, but enough. There was silence on the other end, just the sound of her breathing. Then she scoffed. You're going to throw away 13 years of marriage over one comment? That wasn't one comment, I said softly. That was the truth slipping out. You stopped wanting me a long time ago. You stopped seeing me, stopped hearing me. I was already gone to you. You just finally said it aloud. She muttered something under her breath, but I didn't ask her to repeat it. I ended the call, set the phone aside, and sat in the stillness of my new place. For the first time, silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like oxygen filling my lungs. People might say I should have tried harder. Counseling, more patience, more begging. But here's what I've learned. Love doesn't die because you stop fighting for it. Love dies when only one person is still in the fight. She asked me to vanish, and I did. Not in anger, not in spite, but because sometimes the greatest gift you can give, to another person and to yourself, is freedom. And on her birthday, that's exactly what I gave her.